What is up, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time. You know the drill. Two of the sharpest people in the biz hanging out with us. Going to give you some plays, some pitchers, some hitters, some stacks, some home run calls, and we answer your questions. And we do that all for the great price of $3.99. Doesn't get any better than that. We do ask that you hit that thumbs up for us. We got a couple absolute geniuses. I say that it sounds sarcastic, but I mean it in this case. And Stevie, we're rocking matching pink. What are the odds of that? What's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, I saw that when I jumped on. I was like, maybe it's like Pink Wednesday or something. I don't know, but
Get the memo.
It was one of my only like clean mainland shirts, so that's what I'm wearing to practice later. So yeah,
that's where I'm at too. This is like shirt 12 in my shirt rotation. I'm bottom of the barrel, but this is what we got, and we're bringing some vibes, man. How you feeling about the slate?
I think it's an interesting slate. We'll call it that. I mean, I'm really interested to hear some of Cardi's thoughts, but the pitching is really weak on this smaller slate. It's only a 5-game slate, and the pitching is very weak, which also like just means that maybe you take some chances in tournaments. So we'll talk about it, but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting slate. I wouldn't say it necessarily a bad slate, but I also wouldn't necessarily say it's a good slate. I just think it's an interesting slate.
Okay, we can handle interesting. Got Derek Cardi in the house. Cardi, you look youthful, man. Would you get a fresh cut or something? You look like you're 22.
No, I don't know. Just giving off that vibe, I guess.
It's that customized shampoo and rare green matcha that you're drinking every morning. Gets it done.
I mean, it is what gets it done. You know, you got to have that. You got to have that shampoo just right.
Got to do it. How you feeling? How you feeling about the slate?
Pretty good. Like Stevie said, the pitching is definitely weak here. And I think the move is probably to just play some of the not popular bad stuff, because there's really not really a whole lot of good stuff, but people are still going to congregate to the top couple guys, it looks like, according to ownership projections. So I think you definitely gain an advantage on a slate like this.
So in layman's terms, and correct me if I'm wrong, if everything is kind of bad, don't play the chalky kind of bad stuff.
Yeah, play the other stuff.
Yeah. Okay. That
seems obvious, but I mean, not what the field's going to do, apparently, according to ownership projections.
Okay. Makes sense to me. Well, let's dive into some of these specifics already. We got my guy, I think, is it Mr. Gregory, who starts every show by saying, can we please talk FanDuel pitching? Yes, we will. We'll start with some Draftkings, but we'll get into FanDuel as well. Cardi, what are you doing pitcher-wise? You mentioned you're kind of shaking it up, getting a little crazy. What do you got?
Yeah, so Brandon Woodruff is the top guy on the slate. He's the only guy on the slate where I would actually consider him to be like he's a good play. Like you'd play him on a normal slate probably. I do have concerns with Woodruff, and you're not getting him cheap. He's 10.5K. You get a good matchup against the Pirates, but he's 7 or 8 starts back from the IL now. And the surface numbers are all fantastic. Like he looks exactly like the guy he was before, but his stuff is like way worse. So I'm kind of wondering, like, how is he doing this? I have concerns that Woodruff is actually still this guy. But on a slate like this, like especially in a cash sense or an optimal sense, like, yeah, you play Woodruff. After him, it falls off. Merrill Kelly's probably our next best. And I'm like the world's like nottest Merrill Kelly fan. Like I don't think he's good. I don't like him. I don't see the appeal. But he's probably the next best pitcher on this slate. Just because this slate's pitching is really bad. It looks like Woodruff and Kelly are probably going to eat up most of the ownership, which means the rest of the guys on this slate you can play. I think the only guys I would maybe rule out from my pool would be Troy Melton and Jake Irvin, maybe Gomber. But I think anybody else you can play here. You're going to get them at 10% ownership. And honestly, none of them project that much worse than Kelly. So that's kind of the way I think you approach this.
What is the cash pairing here? You're trying to get a little different for GPPs, but what do you think are the two, chalkier plays?
It's Woodruff, and I would say either Kelly or McGreevy. I would probably rather just go down to McGreevy. That could be my Kelly bias, but he's 6K. He saves you money. He's against the Rockies outside of course. So I'd rather just save the money than spend up on Kelly, but I think either one's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Let me get your FanDuel thoughts really quick. You only get one pitcher over there. I don't know if there are any pricing differences worth noting, any slate differences worth noting, but what are you doing on FanDuel?
Yeah, so I believe it's all the same games on both slates. Woodruff's the best guy, but Merrill Kelly's like 2K less. McGreevy's 4K less. I wouldn't tell you you're wrong to play any of those three in cash. Woodruff's really expensive, so I don't think you have to get up there, but on FanDuel you certainly can.
Yeah.
And then same thoughts on everybody else for GPPs.
Okay, very good. Steve, we want to bring you into the mix, my man. You heard Cardi kind of give his walkthrough. How are you feeling about pitchers?
Yeah, I think Woodruff is the top guy. I mean, basically what Cardi was saying, like, he hasn't thrown over 90 pitches yet. He's been very efficient with pitching, generating a lot of whiffs. The only thing that, like, when I was digging into him earlier today that I noticed between like 2023 and 2025, because he missed all of 2024 with an injury. The biggest thing that I noticed is he's using a different arm angle, and it's just generating a little bit more whiffs on his changeup than it was before. And it's not like a huge number, but he's throwing his fastball and changeup out of the same arm slot a lot more than he did in 2023 and 2022. And sometimes that's just enough. But I still think we'll see his strikeout numbers come down a little bit, but I don't think that necessarily starts today because the Pirates are just one of the worst offenses in baseball. So Woodruff, top guy, FanDuel and DraftKings for me. Then it gets very interesting. Kind of on the same page with Cardi, not really playing a ton of Kelly, going down to like a McGreevy and just taking the okay pitcher. We really don't know what he is yet. He's very young. We'll call him an okay pitcher for now against an awful offense that just, I mean, they are Pittsburgh and Colorado, like these two offenses that we're talking about picking on with pitching, they're like 29th and 30th in like almost every statistic against right-handed pitching this season. So, and that's with Colorado playing half of their games in Coors. So, I mean, it's just rough going for the Rockies this year. But yeah, not a huge Keller fan. He's a below average strikeout pitcher. He doesn't typically get blown up. The Milwaukee lineup's okay. It's not great, but I just don't think Keller has like a ton of upside. And then Kelly, like, I mean, you could make an argument for Kelly and Gallen in this game. The Texas lineup, they don't strike out a ton, but they have been a lot worse this season than we expected. And then Arizona basically just said, our season's over, and shipped away their whole lineup basically. So, I mean, the bottom half of the Arizona lineup isn't the greatest. Like, you're going to have like Thomas in there, James McCann, Blaze Alexander. Like, Kelly could easily pitch well, but again, like, just save the money. McGreevy's fine. Take some shots on that. The one name that just keeps coming back to me in tournaments is Austin Gomber. He's awful. He is one of the worst pitchers in baseball, like by far this season. But like, this Cardinals lineup against left-handed pitching is just really, really bad. And I'm like, can Gomber pitch bad good enough that he like matches McGreevy at like a fifth of the ownership? So maybe I take some shots on Gomber. And then the last person that I want to talk about here is Troy Melton. He's a young pitcher, big, tall kid, big prospect in the Tigers organization. I think he is their number one pitching prospect. Cardi could correct me, but I'm pretty sure Melton's their number one pitching prospect. Big arm, really big fastball, really good slider. Just needs to develop more command and more secondary pitches, but he's getting the White Sox. So pitch count might be a little bit of a concern with Melton, but I think in large field tournaments, again, like with this pitching slate and how bad it is, like you just potentially take some shots on him. Pitch count is my biggest concern with Melton at his price. Like, if he was the FanDuel price, like comparable to like DraftKings, like I would be way more interested if he was like 7K on DraftKings. But again, the pitching slate's awful, so I'd be super happy with 15 from anybody besides Woodruff today.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I kind of said I wouldn't play Melton. It's because of that pitch count thing. He hasn't made a start in like 2.5 weeks. He's only thrown two out of the bullpen, I think 37 and 46 pitches. So he probably won't be able to go super deep here. But on this slate, I mean, you might not need that much.
Yeah.
I mean, 70 pitches against the White Sox might be enough.
Yeah. Carter, did you know that you can, on your phone, there's an option actually that you can silence. So there's a noise version, and that's what it's on now. And then there's this little button on the side, and you can just, you push it down, and then it silences it. It's crazy.
Hey, you guys are both old enough. You guys are both old enough to appreciate my phone case.
Let's see it. Oh, hell yeah. Some good times.
You could play games on it too. Hold on.
What? It actually works?
Yeah, hold on. I got to turn it on.
Oh, I thought it was just...
So I don't keep my phone on silent during shows just because if there's like a user of the bat who's like, hey, something is broken, I want to see it come in.
Look at that. Plug for the bat.
I could play some Contra.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I
use it on bus trips.
I don't have a phone case, and that's a poor choice because this is what the back of my phone looks like. I'm not sure if you can see, but that's not great. It's not the way it's supposed to look. Yeah, I should probably get a phone case. Anyways, nice little side tangent. Stevie, anything you want to add there on FanDuel? If not, we can bring it right into some bats and some stacks.
Pricing on FanDuel is so soft, even on this slate, that like I probably just play Woodruff and take his strikeout upside. But if I'm not playing him, like Kelly's okay, Gallen's okay. But again, I'd probably just go down to like McGreevy and hope he gets 6 quality innings and limits the damage enough where he gets a quality start and he puts up like 30 FanDuel points. I think is kind of 30 to 35 would be okay with his price discount to Woodruff. So, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at on FanDuel. Basically, same thing that Cardi said.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the stacks. And Stevie, you can lead us off right there. Mr. Gerg says, did I miss any weather concerns? No, that's my bad. I should have mentioned. There are a lot of concerns, I think, tonight. But for this slate, we look pretty clean. There's the lowest chance of some rain in St. Louis, but just do whatever you were going to do anyways. But tonight, it's might get a little dicey. We'll see. But for this slate, we look good. Stevie, what do you got for us stack-wise?
Yeah, I mean, interesting slate because we don't love the pitching, but I mean, I don't really love a ton of bats. Like I mentioned Gomber. I think you just kind of close your eyes and you play the Cardinals bats because of how bad Gomber is. Kansas City's probably my favorite stack against Jake Irvin. He's just not great. So I'm definitely prioritizing like Kansas City, St. Louis. And then I like some Detroit. Like Shane Smith is like hot or cold. He's like really solid or really bad. And like the top half of the Detroit lineup with those lefties with like Carpenter, Keith, Green, like they can hit those right-handed pitching. And the only other stack that like I think I'll throw out there is like Washington. Seth Lugo was really solid at the beginning, really solid in the middle, but I feel like his age is starting to catch up to him. Some of his velocity stuff is a concern, and I think you could really stack against him right now until we see him like consistently pitch better. So I don't mind taking some shots on Washington. They're just not the like sexiest offense in the world, so which is always good for tournaments because they'll have lower ownership.
Sure. Cardi, what are your favorites?
The Nats are my favorite for pretty much all the reasons Stevie said.
Wow.
They actually project, basically as the best in the bat, or at least right on par with KC and St. Louis, who are going to be probably the two chalkiest. So I really like the Nationals. You get them at good prices. I'm not a Seth Lugo believer, but I think the Tigers, I think the Brewers are good. I really wish the Diamondbacks were cheaper because I would love to stack against Merrill Kelly, but you really have to pay for them.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff, guys. Let's go around the horn, talk position by position. Cardi, you can lead us off with some catcher talk.
All right. top guy is William Contreras for the Brewers. But I think you probably just save money. You go down to Salvi Perez for 4.2, I think is probably your best option. But Kyle Teal in the White Sox lineup leading off against Melton, I think is definitely fine. Or play a catcher in your stack. Like there are some days lately where it's like, wow, man, we have a lot of good options at catcher. Today's not that day.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Stevie, what are you doing there?
Yeah, I mean, I like Perez a lot if you can kind of fit him in. I prioritize a little bit more position than I do with catcher. I say this all the time. Don't mind the Teal call. The one that I will point out, I know he's hitting ninth, but like Paez for St. Louis has some power against lefties. And you could potentially do the wraparound stack with St. Louis if you play him in the 9-hole, go 9, 1, 2, 3, 4 type of stack. And he's 2.5K on DraftKings. So out of the punts, he's probably my favorite because like, realistically, all of the cheap catchers are hitting like 7th, 8th, or 9th today. So I'll take the catcher in the stack that probably has the most upside in that range. So if I'm not paying up for Perez, it's probably going down to Paez.
Yeah. Okay. How about first?
Pasquantino as much as I can. I mean, I talked about the Kansas City spot today. I love this spot against Irvin. He's really bad against lefties. Pasquantino has a lot of power. So I really like him. Nathaniel Lowe, I really like against Lugo. We talked about those Washington bats. Josh Bell as well. Like either one of those guys. Josh Bell projects as one of the better like point per dollar plays at any position today. So if you are paying up for like Woodruff, I would look to some of these Washington cheap bats to like make your stacks work. And Bell is really interesting, hitting 4th today at 3.1K over there on DK.
Okay, good stuff. Gardy, your thoughts at first, please.
Bell's easily my favorite. Price and ownership and everything considered. I love Bell today. I think he's one of the best just raw first basemen. And he's 1.5K cheaper than Pasquantino, who's good, but I mean, Bell's not that much worse today. He's not that much worse than Torkelson, who will probably be popular and is one of the better guys today. So yeah, I like Bell. I like Miguel Vargas also at that price point. I didn't mention them as a stack, but I guess the White Sox, you can definitely do at least a mini stack of White Sox today. I don't love picking on Melton because he is like this young guy with good stuff and we don't know who he is yet, but there's plenty of upside against a guy who, we don't know if he's any good yet. So yeah, I like Vargas. And that's about it.
Okay. Just a side question before we get to second, Cardi. Peter and I are curious. Have you ever at any point in your life been a drug dealer?
No.
No. Okay. I just had to read your reaction there. I knew you were going to say no, but I had to read the reaction. I believe you. You've got the mind for it. You're organized. You could be. You'd have been a good one.
Use my mind to make money doing things that won't get me thrown in jail.
Yeah, it's a better choice. Good choice. All right, second base, Cardi. What do you like?
Nothing. Moving on. Stevie, your thoughts?
I mean,
no.
I don't. Yeah, it's interesting.
I think Luis Garcia in Washington's lineup is the guy that I like the most. Washington, again, I think is really good today. I think they're kind of underrated. He's 2K less than Ketel Marte, who I do like in tournaments against Merrill Kelly. Like, if he was like 5K instead of 5.8, I think I'd be a lot more interested. But you can still definitely play him as a one-off in tournaments. You can play Garcia as the value guy. After that, like, it's not terrible, but it's like you're just kind of taking a shot with like Gleyber Torres or Marcus Semien, or you're going cheap with like Lennon Sosa or Jonathan India. That's kind of second today.
Yeah. Okay. Stevie, second base.
Yeah, I mean, if you have randomly enough money to pay up for Marte, do it. Because there's a huge gap in like potential between him and everybody else on the slate. But outside of that, I mean, I like Donovan lefty against Gomber. Again, we don't expect Gomber to pitch deep into the game, and the Rockies have one of the worst bullpens in baseball. So I don't mind getting the leadoff hitter in a stack where I'm really high on the stack overall. Like the Garcia call. Again, we keep talking about these Washington like cheaper bats. They just kind of help everything work. Or you could just play a straight up punt with Simone hitting leadoff for Pittsburgh at minimum salary and hope that he doesn't face Woodruff more than 3 times. So with Woodruff's like not going over 90 pitches, I think that he at max faces him 3, so he gets the bullpen for 1 or 2 at bats potentially. And he's just so cheap that like a walk and a stolen base, he's like right there at 2K. So I don't mind just fully punting second base and saying, I hope this guy gets me anything.
Yeah. Okay. Take me to third.
I'll take you to church.
How do you do, fellow kids? I was waiting for that. So good. All right. Third base.
Yeah. Third base is interesting today. I mean, I like Colt Keith. Again, I like the Detroit lefties in the matchup against Smith, but outside of that, it's a position that I don't necessarily love today. I don't mind Garcia if you want to pay up. Again, like mid-range, I like Keith. He's kind of in that cheap range, but I was looking at my teams just now, and I think I have Keith on every team that I built, so I probably will change one of them just because I hate doing that. But Keith is my favorite play, hitting leadoff against Smith on the road too. So you're getting that 4th or potentially a 5th at bat for Keith today.
Okay, very good. Carter, your thoughts at third?
Third base is bad. Third base might be worse than second today. I'm definitely with Stevie on the Colt Keith thing. I think he's the guy that makes the most sense. He's kind of in the middle in terms of price and projection. You can pay a little bit more for Nolan Gorman. You can pay a little bit less for Brooks Baldwin. You can pay a lot more for Maikel Garcia, but I think he'll probably be pretty popular, and especially with KC maybe being the most popular stack today. I like him, but I don't think I want off him. I think he's in a KC stack or nothing, and then I'm probably looking at one of the other 3 guys, and everyone else is, I mean, just bad.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to short.
Bobby Witt is the one Royal that I do have. It's not like I dislike the Royal stack. It's just that I think for the ownership, you probably have some better options. But I love Witt today. He's fantastic. He's better than everybody else by a lot. Not even like he's overly expensive. I mean, he's 100 more than Ketel Marte against the second chalkiest pitcher on the slate. So Bobby Witt is great today. CJ Abrams is one of the Nats that is very expensive to get to, but if you're stacking him, you can definitely play him. You can one-off him. And then in the mid-range, if you are going down, it's probably like Seager, Mason Wynn, Ezekiel Tovar. But I'd prefer to spend up at short today.
Yeah. Okay. Stevie, shortstop, spending out. You got Witt.
Yeah, I mean, I have Abrams over Witt today,
Oh.
just to be different,
wow.
right? I just, it's more of like, I think they project very similar, and I think that for half the ownership, I'll just play Abrams. Like, I think Witt outscores Abrams a higher percent than Abrams outscores Witt, but in tournaments, you got to be different somewhere, and I think when you're looking at ownership projections and looking at everything for the day, like, everybody's paying up for shortstop today, so if everyone's paying up for shortstop, I'll play the lower owned pay up option. Pay up to be different, right? So we say that all the time. So, I mean, Witt and Abrams by far 1A, 1B. However you want to rank them, Witt's probably better, but I like Abrams just because he's lower owner. And Lugo, I'm just not a Seth Lugo guy. I don't think he's very good. And you're getting Abrams on the road, so you are getting that like 4th or 5th bat. And if the Kansas City offense is doing their thing, like, you might not get that 9th inning at bat from Witt where you might get it from Abrams. So maybe I'll bump him a little bit more. But those 2 guys, and then if you want to go cheap, just go to like a Win. He's batting 3rd against Gomber. He's cheap. But I think, I mean, Cardi and I both are on the same page here. Pay up for shortstop as much as possible. We talked about a ton of value everywhere else. Just pay up for shortstop as much as possible today.
And the ownership gap between Witt and Abrams is going to be huge. So I totally agree. In tournaments, Abrams is the better play.
Nice. Okay. Good notes. Stevie, you get to bring us to the outfield. What are your favorites over there?
Yeah, I mean, I like Carpenter and Herrera a lot. I love that the Cardinals have kind of moved Herrera to the outfield, and we can play him in the outfield now. He would be by far my favorite catcher if he was still at catcher eligible, but he's not. So those are 2 of my favorite hitters on the entire slate. And then like kind of staying in that same area, I like Riley Green for Detroit, Perez for Detroit. And then going down, I like Yaz hitting leadoff against Irvin, getting acquired by Kansas City there at the trade deadline. It's not like it's a huge ballpark upgrade, but I think anything for a lefty is better than hitting in San Francisco. So I like Yaz a lot, hitting leadoff in that spot. And then there's not a ton of value that I like. I will say, like, Jock Peterson, if he is in the lineup, he is 2.1K. I don't know if Texas's lineup, it wasn't out when we started, but if Texas's lineup has come out since then and he's in there hitting like third or fourth, he's not as bad as he was at the beginning of the year. He's actually been okay since he's come back. His last 35 at bats against righties, he has a 240 ISO with a 350 WOBA. So a lot better than where he was earlier in the year, where I think he went like 40 at bats without getting a hit or something like that. So he's 2.1K because of everything that happened earlier this year.
Yeah. Cardi, your favorites there?
Yeah, Peterson, I think, is great. He struggled in a small sample early in the year. It happens. He's still, I think, a very good hitter, and he continues to be priced. I mean, they raised his price $100 since yesterday. Like, it's too cheap. I think he's the best value play for sure. On the high end, I like James Wood the most. Nationals, again, I think are great today and probably a little bit overlooked. I like the Yaz call from Stevie. He is getting pinch hit for by KC, when he really wasn't by the Giants earlier this year. So there's a chance you lose in at bat or two for him, but I still think at that price, he's a good play. I think Jordan Walker in that St. Louis lineup with platoon advantage against Gomber for how cheap he is looks good. Mickey Moniak's in the second spot in the lineup on the other side of that game. I like him at his price. I think the power upside is always there. And Christian Yelich, especially on FanDuel, Christian Yelich.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff, guys. The people want the home run calls. They want to know what your favorites are for DFS. Cardi, they probably want to know if there's any good betting odds still ongoing there. So let's go ahead, pull those up. In the meantime, I want to make sure they're getting the best deal in the industry. Fantasy Labs got you covered. Season-long fantasy football and best ball content. Access to rankings, projections, articles, and more from award-winning experts Sean Corner and Chris Raybon. Fantasy Labs also has an app that lets you get real-time rankings, draft cheat sheets, and lineup advice on the go. You can sign up now. Code RG15 for $15 off. And Cardi, I believe you've got a little football plug that you may, you might want to make while you're here.
I mean, there's this little projection system called the Blitz. It's really good. It's available to buy here at RotoGrinders. You should probably think about doing it if you like winning.
Very good. Is it up currently? Can we buy it now?
It's available to buy. Week 1 projections aren't up yet. Probably another couple weeks or so.
There you go. Very good. Make sure you do that. The Blitz is fantastic. If you maybe like the bat, you're probably going to like the Blitz. And if you're jealous that you don't have the bat, now's your chance to get in on the Blitz. See how I help you out, Cardi?
I appreciate it.
I'm working to get that free sub from you one day, which I know I could get at any time.
You are entitled to a free sub, Roth.
I always tease about it, but I've never actually cashed in on it because I don't really play a lot of football. All right, let's do some home run calls. Stevie, what do you got?
At the top, we will go Kerry Carpenter, one of my favorites. I also really like CJ Abrams, so I guess 2 at the top. Give me Abrams and Carpenter hit a home run. Trying to think of a cheap one. Let's just kind of stick to the theme of the outfield. Give me Yaz to go yard for Kansas City.
Okay, very good. Cardi, you got a few names?
I don't think this is a particularly good slate for home runs. I agree with Carpenter at the top. I think Salvador Perez down in like the middle, I think is good. Off the board, I mean, give me Jock Peterson on the low end. I mean, of course, Jock Peterson. In terms of betting, last I looked, Jorge Polanco, you could still get for this is, I think, for the night slate, but he's the best of the day at the moment. You can get him around plus 800, plus 850, plus 900, anywhere around there is going to be a good price for him. Okay. Wow, I'm going to post this soon. Miguel Vargas you can get for plus 850, and he looks really good right now.
Okay. I will say one of my favorite bets, because we were talking about betting, one of my favorite bets today is Kerry Carpenter over 1.5 total bases for plus 145.
There you go. Giving the people some bets, some dingers, some pitchers, some hitters, some stacks. And now we want to answer their questions before we clear on out. We have just a ridiculous amount of time until lock. I do not think we'll make it that far, but we will hang out and take your questions for as long as you've got them. You scroll up just a little bit in the YouTube chat, and we'll get JB Yankees question. Stevie, are you still doing a 5-man stack with the Nats?
I mean, I don't mind it. I have them more as mini stacks, but I don't mind a 5-man Washington stack. I think when you're looking at their lineup, you probably prefer maybe like a 4-4 type of build. But I mean, you could find a 5th piece. Like, it's the problem with 5-man stacking Washington is you want to play both Lowe and Bell, and they're at the same position. So like finding that 5th piece outside of like Wood, Abrams, Garcia, and one of the first basemen is tough. Maybe Lyle, if you want to do like a 5-man, would be okay. But that was my issue when I was like building a 5-man stack, was like I always came back to I want to play both Bell and Lowe. So I use them more as like a 3 or 4-man stack.
Okay. On FanDuel, you get the util. I assume you can play them both there. Is that
but it's only a 4-man stack.
Oh, FanDuel. Right. That's all right. Let's see. Was that our only question? Dexter says ESPN has Muncie at plus 325. Everywhere else is plus 280 or lower. So way to price shop, Dexter. That makes us proud here. Doing it right, man.
When you live in Florida, you can't price shop. You get one option, and you get hurricanes. I mean, that's what you get in Florida.
It's not great. It's not being able to price shop really seems to make it almost impossible to be successful. Cardi, if you were only locked into one sports book, could you be a winning better with one sports book?
You can, but you want to be able to price shop.
Price shopping is best.
I mean, especially with the way the books limit people. Like if you only have one, like you really gotta tiptoe around things.
Right. You place too many sharp bets, and then your only book that you're viable is giving you like 10-cent bets, and it's all over. Yeah. There goes everything.
Yeah, I don't know how they haven't limited my NASCAR bets yet, but
that's awesome.
We're not gonna put that out in the universe.
Yeah.
If you want to unlimit yourself, just start dropping parlays, crazy parlays, and they'll bring it back for you.
That's true. That's a good move. Yeah, just some absolute donkey parlays will. They'll take all your money on those.
Roth, I keep seeing reports of this like tropical storm moving more west. I need you to like tell me it's going to go out to sea more.
Aaron?
Yeah, it looks gnarly.
Yeah, it's a good little storm, but that's the problem with it. Storms that strengthen that quickly curve quicker. So I shouldn't say problem. That's the good news. Because it's already strengthening, it's going to curve.
Get that thing out of there. Get that.
Yeah, you're going to be fine. I like your chances. I wouldn't worry about it. Either of you gentlemen on the East Coast, from Florida up to Jersey, I think you'll be in good shape. Okay, you know what? We answered all the questions. We gave all the plays. Here we go. We got one. We got a couple questions, actually. Sorry, that just came in the Discord. Grinch says, Cardi, please help me in a DK GPP. Who's the better one-off, Collins or Frelick?
Frelick.
Okay. Alex says, Stevie, thanks for the show. Second base DK cash, and maybe an outfielder in DK cash in like a 3K range-ish, give or take 3K-ish.
I mean, if you could get Garcia, I know he's like 3.7. I'd probably try to get him. If you can't,
save money with Peterson in the outfield, and then you're at like 3K for both spots.
Yeah. That or just punt with Simon, like I said, like batting leadoff. I know it's against Woodruff, but like second base is so awful today. Like if Simon scores any points at 2K, like you're probably going to be okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Blink 182 says, Stevie, I'm playing one lineup in a large DK tournament, thinking about double dipping Tigers and Sox game, 2 4-man stacks. Is that viable? And could I win it all with that approach?
I mean, nobody else is doing it. I like the Detroit side. I don't necessarily hate the White Sox side. I think Melton has a lot of potential, but again, we don't know how long he's really going to pitch either. So I don't remember where the bullpen is for the Tigers. Do they have a good bullpen?
Cardi, you know where the Tigers bullpen sits?
I do not think.
I guess it's like middle of the road. They're like middle of the road, 18th, 19th kind of statistic wise. So like, I don't hate it. I mean, if you're only playing one lineup and you're like, I'm gonna either win or I'm gonna lose. I mean, no one else is stacking Detroit, Chicago today.
Yeah. Cardi, got a question from my guy, Chris Kamen. What do we think about Ortiz to get different in a DK GPP? Just feels like a slate where Witt, Abrams, etc. stay under 20 fantasy points. Ortiz has been benefiting nicely from this Milwaukee offensive explosion. Any interest there? Ortiz in a DK GPP, Cardi?
I mean, he's fine, I guess. I'm not a big Ortiz guy. Like, this Milwaukee run is going to stop. You can't play it because of a hot streak. And I don't think Ortiz is that good. You can if you want, but there's options I like more.
Okay. That is a perfectly fine answer. And with that, we have answered all of the questions here in the Discord and the YouTube. I want to make sure if you're watching on YouTube, you do hit us with the thumbs up. It is free content. Early show. We'll be back again for a later show. That one will have weather issues, or at least weather concerns. So I highly recommend you tune into that. Get the very latest weather updates right here with RotoGrinders on Crunch Time. And yeah, that does it. So for Stevie and for Cardi and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you later on tonight. You have been crunched.